Judy Muller. I'm a professor of journalism at USC's Annenberg School. And my question is for Neil, or anybody else who wants to talk about it. I'm still trying to get past this idea of the audience as promiscuous. News sluts. How do we satisfy them? But, and this goes towards that issue in a way, because the business model is connected to the quality of the journalism. Good reporting costs money, as we've all been talking about. And Neil, you were at the Wall Street Journal's website, and they charge. One of the few who, on the other end of the promiscuous scale, weren't giving it away for free. Why? And you were at Yahoo, which, took material and gave it away for free. And as we heard this morning from Howie, and there are students who say, Google Yahoo, that's where I get my news, as though elves were writing it, So my question is, why doesn't Yahoo or Google have to pay? Those platforms, is it too late for that? I mean, pay for the content and get some money flowing back towards the reporting.
Well, that's interesting. There's a lot of pieces there. In terms of Google, Yahoo, and others who aggregate and simply have links that send some of the traffic back to the original site, I think there will be things that will happen. The problem is the only way to control that, if you're a publisher, is say, well, I don't want my stuff incorporated into the search indexes, and you lose that traffic. So I think more and more they've actually, when I worked at Yahoo, they created a consortium of newspaper companies, and one of their first demands or requirements that they wanted to see was, we want our stuff to not just be in the index, we want it higher in the index so that we're getting more traffic out of that. I do want to touch a little on the subscription model and getting people to pay for things, because I think there's a lot of buzz right now in the news industry about, can we charge for things? One of the things that we did when we created the Wall Street Journal Online is, it was early on, maybe we were stupid, maybe we were crazy, but we started thinking about what we wanted to do with the journal online from the standpoint of, we want to charge for it. I think a lot of people think, well, we built it, we looked at it and said, oh, maybe people will pay for that. It's actually, we said, we want to build something that people will pay for, and we started from that premise and built what we built, and the features, the sets of content, the capabilities, the things that we built into it. And obviously the journal is an audience of business people and investors who can, it's actionable information in some cases. But we put the equivalent of a $200 a year print newspaper subscription, the equivalent of about $500 a year in real-time newswire content, the equivalent of several $100s a year in archival access into a product that we initially charged $49 a year for. Well, it's no wonder we got a few 100,000 people to pay for that, because some of them were smart enough to turn off their subscriptions to. We had more fights within Dow Jones about cannibalization of newswires and cannibalization of archives. The print side wasn't all that concerned about cannibalization. And I say all that is that I think if you're going to get people to pay for something and you get sizable numbers of people to pay for it, you got to start by thinking about what kind of thing they will pay for. You can't just say, well, they've been paying for this, we'll get them to pay for this when we bring it online. You got to create something that's got a lot of value that they're willing to pay for. And then you spend forever marketing and selling it and convincing them there's something really good behind this door if you just come through it. Because a lot of people will never get past that doorway. So I think news organizations are going to have a lot of trouble going into that business unless they figure out some really valuable things that they're going to create behind that wall.
Vivian, you grappled with the same issue at the time.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in on this question, which I have a lot of personal experience with. I mean, so there are only 3 content areas that have proven, and this could even change as they become more commoditized, that have proven that people are willing to pay for. One is, real-time financial data, and I think that too will eventually be commoditized. The second is specialized sports content, like fantasy, football, and all that kind of stuff. And the third is porn. And beyond that, I do not believe, having done a lot of research on this, that there is a sustainable business model to charge for web content. Now, while I was at the Times, along with 2 of my colleagues who are in the room, Martin Nissenholtz and John Landman, we successfully led an effort to end time select. Why? Time select on one level was very successful. We ended up with 225,000 people who are willing to pay, same figure, $50 a year. Well, that's $10 million a year, and that's great. But you know what? It stops there. It goes like this, and that's about the ceiling. So then you begin to do the arbitrage on this. What is $10 million a year as an annuity year after year, assuming it will be an annuity, versus the kind of traffic that you're suppressing? Meanwhile, coming back to Google, Google is indexing free content, and your brand over time very quickly begins to go like this, and that is the path to ruin. So yes, while right now, because of the horrendous economy we're in, there are some who are saying this is a mistake, we should charge for stuff, and perhaps even, I'm not there anymore, perhaps this conversation's happening at the times, but I still maintain that there's got to be another way. I think it's a huge mistake to charge for what we consider as precious news, but the rest of the world perhaps might consider commodity news.